Hello guys, it's Ben Spurs21 here. It's great to be back. I know I've been away a long time, but I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, as I mentioned, so as you see in my video, the previous video uploaded, which if you haven't seen, be sure to check it out. It's not a one-off. I am officially back on YouTube, and I thought I'd come out with something a little simple, a Q&A for all of you. So I asked some of you to give me some questions, and I have a few prepared, and so I'm gonna read them out and answer them the best I can. So yeah, let's get going. So Jason Dave at Jason Davis LROP on Twitter asks how you're doing in quarantine. Obviously, we are in the midst of very very unusual times. Obviously, due to the worldwide pandemic. I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing better than I was at the start of all of this. Like at the beginning of this lockdown, I was quite agitated and quite anxious about it all. I was very worried about how life would return to normal, but as it's gradually progressed and got further and further, I'm actually a lot calmer about it all. And I suppose because I understand what needs to be done, I have developed a better understanding of the whole situation and realised there's nothing that I can do directly to help other than just to follow the guidelines and just hope we come out the other side all safe, which I hope all of you watching this are. So yeah, keep strong everyone. Chad on Twitter asked, what was your first game? Well, the very first game I went to at Spurs, when I was lucky enough to go, was the pre-season friendly against Espanyol in 2013. I just remember the feeling of the whole day, how beautiful the sight was. The train heading to London, the view when you see the stadium as you walk up Tottenham High Road, and then when you walk in through the barriers, and then you climb up the stairs and see the pitch for the very first time, just completely took my breath away. And whenever you go to your first game of football, for me, that's the feeling that stays with you forever and will never leave you. At Herbivore on Twitter, how do you feel about the season being finished, being played behind closed doors? And if you don't agree with it, what suggestion would you have? To be brutally honest with you, I don't think the season should be finished. I personally think it should be voided and we should start again either late August, early September for the new season. But that would be my personal suggestion. But if they seem to be adamant on finishing it, if they do, then they should just all go to a neutral ground. Maybe I don't know, maybe even to St George's Park, where most of the Premier League players have been to and trained at some point. They're all familiar with it, and just have a set period of time where they play all the rest of the games there. And if that seems to be the quickest, easiest way, if they do want to finish the season off, which they all seem adamant on doing, so it wouldn't be what I'd do, but I think that's what will happen. At Moose THFC28 on Twitter, what positions would you strengthen in the summer, and who would you like to get? Well, I think the most immediate position that needs strengthening is centre back, central defensive midfield. So at centre back, I would go either with Diego Godin, who is available for free this summer. I know people might turn a blind eye and say that we don't need him because of his age, but when you look at his experience and the level he's been at his whole career, he'd been valuable in that defence. Or maybe even Koulibaly from Napoli, who's been rumoured since January, and I mean, he's one of the elite centre-halves in world football. He'd been absolute coup de get. And yes, CDM, central defensive midfielder, we need a ball winner in that midfield who can get stuck in and just hand off and protect that back four. And the one I'd go with is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg from Southampton. I've always loved watching him there. He's He's a brilliant player. He gets stuck in. He's good on the ball as well when he needs to be. In my opinion, he'd fit that position perfectly, and I think that's who we should be after in that position. Mark O'Reilly on Twitter asks if you could bring back one Spurs player, who would it be? Obviously, I am a younger Spurs fan, so I'm thinking along the timeline that I've been following Spurs, obviously. For me personally, it would be Gareth Bale. That period of 2011 to 2013, his time at Spurs, it was virtually unplayable. Just how easily he could burst down the wings and burn you off, the way he could, and then just score from 30 yards effortlessly every single game, it seemed. Just how influential he was over that team, and how many times he won games for us, and how much he also lifted the atmosphere. He was always a crowd pleaser, and always, every time he was on the ball, you could always feel something was about to happen. And, I'd love to have him back. At Keith_678 on Twitter, if you could pick one footballer or manager to be in lockdown with, who would it be and why? For me, actually, it would be Harry Redknapp. Purely because I think it'd be a great laugh to be around with him. The amount of stories that Harry would be able to tell you is ludicrously high, and the amount of fun I imagine you could have with him as well would make the time very worthwhile. So, Wheeler Dilla Harry. At Dara Clancy 01 on Twitter asks, would you take Pochettino back after Jose eventually leaves Spurs? Obviously, this has been a bit of a bone of contention recently. The other night, when on BT Sport they were recapping the Champions League semi-final from last season against Ajax, obviously they had Mauricio Pochettino there to look back on it, and in the process of the show, he did say that he would love to come back one day to, in his words, finish the work he didn't finish. I mean, it would be brilliant if he came back one day, but I hope that doesn't influence fans' opinions and use that as a way of putting hate on Jose Mourinho, because at the moment Jose Mourinho's the man in charge. He should have everybody's support at this club, from the fans and players, everyone. And sentiment aside, because a lot of fans do have a lot of great deal of sentiment towards Pochettino, and to a degree rightfully so for what he managed. But at the moment Mourinho is in charge and everybody should be backing him 100%. At Glider_Sam on Twitter asks, how do you feel about the Newcastle takeover, and how will this directly affect the league if it goes through? This is another big talking point in, well, not just in football, but actually in, generally speaking, the news at the moment. The proposed takeover of Newcastle United by the financial group of Saudi Arabia, who are apparently on the brink of purchasing the club. Obviously, this has caused a big of an uproar due to obviously all the issues regarding all the laws about Saudi Arabia, women's rights, and there's various bones of contention about it. And obviously the deaths of recently of the journalist a couple of years ago. His wife has even contacted the Premier League and asked them not to go through with it. So I don't think we've heard the end of this story. I think there's a few more things that are going to come out before either it goes through or it doesn't. So keep your ears open. I don't think that the full story's been told yet. At Glider_Sam on Twitter asks thoughts on the Newcastle takeover and the impact it'll have on the Premier League in the future if it goes through. Obviously, this has been quite a noteworthy story in not just actually in football, but in the news in general, the proposed takeover of Newcastle United by the investment fund group of Saudi Arabia, who are apparently on the verge of purchasing the club. This has caused quite an uproar, due to the fact the controversial laws of Saudi Arabia, the stuff about women's rights, the death of the journalist a couple of years ago. Obviously, for those who don't know, his wife has actually contacted the Premier League and asked and pleaded with them not to go through with the sale. I don't think we've heard the last of this. I think there's another developments that things we don't know about that will eventually come out of it. So how will it affect the league if it does go through? Well, in terms of the league itself, it might seem a black mark on them to allow them to allow a group from a country who have somewhat controversial laws to go through and take ownership of a club in a big established league, arguably the biggest league in the world. It might raise a red flag to a few people, but as I said, I think there's more to come out of this, so we'll see what happens. Petrolog SG7 on Instagram asked, was there a special moment or a special someone that helped you make you love and become a Spurs fan? Spurs runs in my family, through my mum and my late auntie. They were both fanatical for Spurs, and it's went through into my DNA, and I've taken that from them, and loved them from as far back as I remember in my life. From when I was born, 1993 to now. Since the first memories, it's always been Tottenham, and that's how it always will be. Adam Lee Ricketts on Facebook. Who is your favourite ever Spurs player? For me, it would be David Ginola. As a little kid, one of the very first memories I have was David Ginola just sprinting down the wing, dazzling fit, and just rocketing a shot into the top corner, and seeing him celebrate with his long hair and his beautiful physique. I just remember that moment thinking, wow, that's what it would look like. Obviously it didn't quite pan out like that, but that image always encapsulated my love of Spurs as a kid. And, I adored him. That was the first Spurs player who I truly felt love towards. I was even lucky enough to say hi to him at Ledley King's testimonial game and get his autograph. So, he's always got a very special place in my heart. Callum Ashworth on Snapchat asks, what job do you do? Well, actually, this is kind of my job now. I'm a full-time YouTuber. It's something I've grown and loved doing, and it's something I've really grown attached to, and I want to go at it, with everything I have, and I want to make this a success, and, I truly believe that I can. I believe I've got the passion and the know-how to make this a success and, make YouTube my job, and, that's what I want to do. At Ledge Beats on Twitter, will you ever go back to doing vlogs? Yes. Yes, I will go back to them eventually. Obviously, even if I wanted to, obviously we can't at the moment due to, circumstances. But yes, I do miss being up, at Tottenham and, recording and having an amazing time with, so many people I've grown and loved, and become friends with up there. And, when I do eventually get back there, rolling the good times. I can't wait. At IshN17 on Twitter, top 4 for next season? Honestly, I don't know. I think it depends a lot on how we activate ourselves in the transfer window, whatever that might be. I do think there is a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done, but I think if Mourinho is clever enough and, given the contacts he has around the world, I can't see why he wouldn't be. then, you know, if we invest correctly and, you know, sign the right players in the right positions that we need, then yes, we can. Well, that's going to be it for the Q&A. Thank you for your questions. Thank you guys for watching as well. As I've said, it is good to be back, and, you know, I've got some different variations of things that I want to do, you know, for the channel going forward, and I'm still going to be bringing you Spurs content like I've always done, but, you know, I want to, you know, grow and, you know, explore and do more for you guys, and, you know, make this better, not just for myself, but also better for you guys to watch and enjoy. It is. Again, this isn't a one-off. I am back full-time on YouTube, and yeah, I'm excited about what's ahead. So thank you for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and also subscribe if you are new. Thank you for watching, guys. I've been BenSpurs21, and I'll see you soon.